Welcome to another tale from the Magic Story Cauldron. This is the story of King Throsselbeard and the proud princess. There was once a king who had a very beautiful daughter. Her heart, though, was cold and proud. She laughed at her suitors and sent them away. "Very well," said her father. "I will invite every eligible nobleman from near and far to a feast. Then you are sure to see a husband you would like, my dear." So every king, prince, duke, marquis, earl and baron lined up in the great hall. And the princess walked up and down the rows like a general inspecting her troops. "Look at his skinny legs," she laughed at one. A very learned prince. "He looks like a frog," she giggled, as she looked down on a hard-working duke. And so on and on it went down the rows, until at last she came to a young man, a king, who was very charming in every way. Still, there was something about his face that reminded her of a bright-eyed bird. "I'll call you King Throsselbeard," she chuckled. "I couldn't possibly marry you. I couldn't possibly marry someone so bird-brained." The princess's father grew angry. "You will marry the first beggar who comes to the palace gates, my girl." A few days later, a strolling player sat below the king's window and sang a haunting song. The king at once asked for him to be brought into the castle. "Your singing has brought you a great reward," he said. "Here is my daughter. She shall be your wife." And that is exactly what happened. The proud princess and her new husband were ushered out of the palace. They trudged along through the countryside, beautiful countryside, and the princess wondered whose land could be so pleasing. Her husband replied, "King Throsselbeard owns this. You could have lived in bliss." All day they walked along, and everywhere there were fine towns and well-tended farms that all belonged to King Throsselbeard. "Oh, I have been a fool," moaned the princess. "If only I had married him, and I wouldn't be married to a beggar." At last they stopped at a tiny hut. "This is my home," the beggar told his new wife, "where you and I shall live together, my dear." "But where do the servants live?" she asked. "Servants," chuckled the beggar. "You will be doing all the work around here, my dear." And so the princess's new life began. Things did not go smoothly. She was no good at cooking or cleaning or washing the clothes. She'd never had to. She'd never learned. She could not make baskets. She couldn't spin thread. Her husband grew somewhat angry with her. "This is no good at all," he said. "We have to make a living. I'll buy some pots, and you can sell them in the marketplace. You should be able to do that." "But someone who knows me might see me," wailed the princess. "So they might," replied her husband with a smile. As it turned out, the princess did well with her stall. She was pretty, so pretty that people were pleased to come and buy from her. She and her husband had enough money from time to time. Then the beggar told her to take some new pots to market. This time, things did not go so well. The princess set up her stall on a corner, and before an hour had passed, a runaway horse crashed into the stall and broke the stall and every pot she had. The princess's husband was very upset. "Are you totally useless?" he said. "I cannot afford to keep you. But there is a post for a kitchen maid at the palace. They will feed you, and you can bring home some scraps for me." And so the princess, who had once been so proud, had to work hard. "It's my fault. It's my own fault," she admitted. "If I had not been so proud, I could have led a happy life." At that moment, the prince came out of the ballroom. Oh, sorry, no, he wasn't a prince, he was a king. The king came out of the ballroom. To the princess's horror, she realized that it was King Throsselbeard, whom she had rejected. The king came straight toward her and swept her into the dance. "Don't be afraid," he said kindly. "I have taken many forms, including the beggar whom you married. I see that you have learned to give up your pride and coldness. Now I am proud to make you my queen." From that day forward, the new queen was the happiest woman in the world, and her kindness and compassion to everyone was known throughout the land. The story of King Throsselbeard and the proud princess. Looking forward to another tale from the Magic Story Cauldron very soon. See you then. Bye.